Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is So I'm Watching Riverdale, Season 7, Episode 6.
Chapter 123, Peep Show.
I am
It's
this.
amazing.
So for the first, 2 or 3 or 4 episodes, I think because Riverdale's been such a roller coaster up and down show, I've been enjoying it, obviously. We've been talking about it, but I've been a little bit cautious, hesitant, I've been holding back because I'm sort of like, well, what are we doing? What are we building to?
I almost don't care.
I don't. And that's it. No, this is last week and this week is the first time that I'm just like, oh, I just want to watch this show.
Yeah.
And it's doing that thing that we've wanted since season 1, where it's about them and their relationships.
Yeah.
And I love this clean slate that we have with these characters that we know playing themselves, or even more intriguing version of themselves.
100%.
And we know what they're capable of, and we're sort of it's like fan fiction for a show that's still on.
Yeah.
And it's doing it well.
It is. I'm having such a good time.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed last week. I was having all sorts of issues, so you and Rachel sat in. It was a little bit sort of like, okay, what is this? It kind of killed them, or didn't kill the momentum, but it
was like a pause.
Nothing, I don't think anything really came of it.
Yeah.
It was more tonal.
Veronica and Jughead aren't flirting anymore.
You really? Do you want to explore that?
Do I not? Or do I want to?
Do you want to explore that?
Yes.
Your feelings? Well.
Oh, my feelings.
You're really hung up on it.
I don't know. It was at first I was like, absolutely not. This is horrendous.
Oil and water.
But then they actually had scenes together, and Cole and Camilla's chemistry is really sweet.
I can't believe how correct you were about Veronica and Camilla, and how it was Hiram that was ruining. Because we said it, and I believed it. I was like, yeah, I feel like that's wrong. But in the back of your mind, there's a part of you where it's like, I don't know, maybe what if they removed Hiram and it was just sort of that character? Because you can write a character, or characters can lose their way.
Yes, but I think the reason why Veronica lost her way is because they never gave her something to do. She was just yoked to Hiram in a way that never let her do anything that was outside of her relationship to Hiram, or her relationship to Archie, or Archie's relationship to Hiram, or Hermione's relationship to Hiram. It was never about Veronica.
That was a direct affront to the meal they started in season 1 with Veronica and Hermione.
Which is that's the thing is
because I am loving Camilla and Veronica this season.
Good. Because I have been very vocal the entire time we've been covering Riverdale that it is not an issue that I have with Camilla Mendez. It is an issue that I have with the character of Veronica.
And nor was it an issue we had with Mark Consuelos. We actually love him.
But it's the way that they wrote them together where
he overstayed his welcome.
He way overstayed his welcome, and they were never able to do anything that wasn't in direct competition with each other until it was just a cycle where it was it was like watching The Walking Dead, because it was oh, well, here's a moment of hope. Just kidding. We're all the way back down, and it's dreary.
Because I forgot, what this weird breath of fresh air cheerleader Veronica was.
Yeah.
Where she is new in town and more worldly than these other kids. And then adding the layer that they're all sort of, under. But anyways, the how much she actually likes Betty, how much she actually likes Archie, how much she actually likes Jughead, all of these characters, and seeing her wanting to help them without ulterior motives or without I don't know, it's fascinating.
Well, so that's the thing is in season 1, Veronica and Hermione were fleeing Hiram and his corruption and his jail sentence and everything. This Veronica has been overthrown by her parents and has been basically banished and shunted off to the side, and she's alone and she's sad, and so she's trying to fill that void with people in a real way.
And there's stuff that Camilla can do. These are good actors.
Yeah.
We keep saying it to the point where it's I feel like a broken record, but KJ Apa is good in these episodes. There is something also just about his general physicality, and I noticed it the most in this episode because he's walking around like a doofus. Shucks.
His, like, the physicality of him walking around is doofus.
It's like he hasn't grown into his body yet.
I'm obsessed
I don't know.
it.
I keep wanting to say maybe it's fatherhood. Maybe it's like...
I think it's...
Because KJ had a baby, last year.
I think it's multiple things. I think, like you said from the beginning, it is very, like, it's May of senior year of high school, and they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, although that light has gotten further away now because of the writer's strike. But I think...
Writer's strike, if you ruined this last season, I didn't even think about that.
I swear to Christ. No, but I think it's partially that. I think it's partially this material is a lot more interesting. And I think even further to that, this season is almost like a farce, like a costume farce.
It's a pastiche.
So it's like, I think they're all having so much fun because it's so heightened. And then they're having to work within the, like, language of the 50s and the clothes.
There's also something sort of set free about, because the issue with any show like this, any teen show like this, is the fact that you're dealing with adults playing teenagers. Yeah. And, you know, these weren't ever, like, comically, like, they weren't comically adults the way, like, maybe the 90210 kids were. Yeah. But there is...
Luke Perry had a full beard in season 1.
But there is something about the fact that all of these actors who have already played high school students and then played adults with each other, who are now at the oldest they've ever been on this earth, going back to the high school.
High school juniors, too, not even seniors.
It's very fascinating. I love coming-of-age sexuality. I find it so fascinating.
They are so horny.
But it's also
Betty
sweet.
Specifically is so
but
horny.
But it's sweet.
No,
and I think that's such... I love that. I think that's such an accomplishment. Yeah. And I love how much this season has been about sex.
Yeah. Betty literally, I think if someone just touched her boob, she'd be like, the stress would melt away. She's like, someone grab my tit. That's all I want.
There would be a sound.
Yuck.
I don't know, but that's just sort of like I am right there.
Me too.
With Archie and Betty, and that sort of like that excitement, and you have a present. You don't know what's in the box. You have ideas of what could be in the box, but they're just nailing it. And I guess so. Things that happen. Who the fuck is Frank? Okay,
because we came around on Frank, like,
well, okay,
like other Frank. We came around on that. Who this Yahoo thinks he is? Jabroni? I don't know. What do we want to call him? I'm like, I can't with him.
Because I was like, did Mary ask for this? Because she dismissed him in the, like, principal meeting or whatever.
I think he just arrived and
to set things right.
And he was like, and thank God, because Archie, you've gone really off the rails.
There's a handful of, like, characters that I'm a little like, well, Dilton Doily is another one where it's like, I mean, there's like, oh, Dilton Doily, yay. But then there's also like, but why? What are we doing? And
especially because he was deceased.
Yeah. Very. And also, this is also another guy, correct?
It's a different actor,
Yeah.
Well, I think the other one might be too old. Well, I mean, they're all too old. I don't know.
KJ is 30.
It's true.
But bafflingly, and bless the powers that be, we brought back Evelyn Evernever.
Oh my god.
Zoe. Oh fuck. What's her name?
It's
It's a name. It's like a. Ooh.
It's like Zoe Grande Maison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoe de Grande Maison.
I remembered liking her, but getting to be in her presence again in this episode, she's so good. She's such a good face actor, and it's just it's sort of like we're dealing with a Pleasantville quality where these people are slightly outside of their time, and I'm so curious how far that goes. Like, is Evelyn Evernever and Uncle Frank, like, are they representatives of, like, are they back in time as well, or are they?
Well, I don't know. They're both alive, though.
Does this have something to do with who's alive and who's dead?
I don't know. Because Dilton's dead and Midge is dead, but they're both here as well.
I'm just so curious if they're, like, sleeper agents or, like, are like, is Uncle Frank tasked with keeping the status quo? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he coming in to try and, like, thwart the progression they're making? I don't know. It's very
interesting.
It's very robotic.
Okay, sure, but then, yeah, I don't know necessarily that was on the page. Because that's the other thing too, is like then, but because Midge is dead and she is a pretty progressive character, and she like waved hi at Tony when she came for tryouts, and she's pregnant with Fangs' baby.
I completely forgot.
So I just feel like then that's only Uncle Frank is like, well, he was like a villain last season. He was like under the thrall of the guy, the devil guy.
Yeah, I forgot.
And so was Sheriff Keller.
Interesting. Because I feel like I'm contradicting myself because...
But then it's like, why bring Midge back to life to just like let her be in the... Or are we looking too deep into this?
That's what I mean. I feel like I'm contradicting myself when I'm like... Because I'm like, the Pleasantville... Like, I'm enjoying the ins and outs of the plot. Like, the teen 50s angst of the plot. And I want to just be in that.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I am aware. Like, I can't let myself relax because I'm aware there's something else happening.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified or maybe excited. Do I want this? But it's like, I'm afraid we're going to get to, like, episode 16 and they're going to be in Matrix pods. Do you know what I mean? And this is a simulation they've been put in. Oh, no. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, who is doing what.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, speaking of on the page, this is so good. This material is so good for Molly Ringwald's particular brand of acting
so
and style, like aesthetic. She looks so good. Okay, so specifically, what do we need to talk about?
Well, Jughead. Okay, well, I want to get it over with first. So, Jughead realized that Pep Comics is plagiarizing again, and he was like shocked, like that had never been brought up prior. Even though he accused them of plagiarizing, that's how he got his job. So he went and found Brad Rayberry, and was like, Pep Comics is stealing your work. You need to sue them. And then he was like, well, maybe not sue them, but you need to talk to them. So he came blustering into the Pep Comics office and ended up getting...
forced this thing to a head.
Yeah.
That was not necessary. Like, this was not a problem that needed solving.
Yeah.
He created it, forced it to head, came up with like a miracle solution.
Yeah.
Like everybody was happy.
But it's not like Brad Rayberry found him and was like, help me. He just was like, I'm going to do this.
He came to his door to give him this problem and then fixed it, and that wasn't satisfied. So then he needed to literally steal a physical story from him. Prompted out of nowhere by nothing. Don't ever do that. Don't take art from an artist. Okay,
I agree. However, he just wanted to read it, and he brought it back the next day.
Don't ever do that.
I agree, but, like, I don't know.
But I'm saying you already solved the problem, so why are you now... What is this hat on a hat, Jughead?
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
Because you already got your jaunty little crown.
He does. So he did take the manuscript and he read it, and he came back to his place and was like, this is amazing. Like, I hope you're not mad. And he was furious. And he was like, you need to get this published. Why isn't it published? And he was like,
He's not 45 minutes into this mentorship, though. Like, had they spent the whole summer?
Sure.
And then, okay.
But Brad Rayberry threw his teacup down so hard because he was so mad about it. And he was like, get the fuck out of my house.
It was warranted.
It was kind of...
Jughead could burn in hell.
He didn't actually steal it. Like, I don't know.
There was a physical item in Brad's house.
And he took it back the next day like a library. He borrowed it.
Libraries aren't retroactive. Like,
we can't get into the weeds on this.
When you enter a library, it is expected that you will take...
I know. It was definitely a wrong thing he did. I do think the reaction to just like fawning like fandom was a little intense.
Again, 45 minutes into this.
Agreed, yes.
So then Veronica is trying to help Betty
feel sexy.
Yeah. It was cute.
Yeah.
It was needed. I enjoyed every minute of it, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Except Veronica was eating chocolate while she was drinking orange juice.
You and the chocolate and the orange. You can't.
She was
handle.
She was eating chocolates and drinking a mimosa. And if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna drink something with chocolates, you should just do champagne. Why is there orange juice involved? What about because
she's 17.
it's also gonna interact with she's a rich Hollywood starlet. It's also gonna interact with the fillings in your chocolates. Don't do that.
Okay. It was so funny watching them watch Archie.
Oh my God.
I love it. I love the slight gender swap because usually it's the other way around. Boys are trying to spy on girls. Yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Well, I do also love that, like, Veronica's not 100% over being, like, into Archie, but so she just, like, invited herself to spy on him after school. She was
it's
like...
some season 1. This is some season 1 shit. I'm loving it.
It's so good.
I still cannot make hide or hair of what Julian is. Yeah. I have... Like,
I mean, horrible.
If we hadn't seen him at the dinner table with both Penelope and Cheryl, I would think he was a ghost or a figment or something. I have no idea. He portals into scenes to menace Archie and then is gone as quick as he came. I have no clue.
It's bizarre. And it's also it's the meanest things where he's like, I bet your dead dad wishes you wouldn't play basketball. And it's just like, whoa.
Also, and this was last week, you guys mentioned it, but there was like a cabal of white men who seem to know what's happening.
It's the principal and the doctor.
And Claudius.
Yeah.
So they seem to know it. So that's where I'm going to this like Matrix-style pods or like the society or something where I'm like, some people know something is happening. I think that they're doing a good job with Cheryl's story. Mm-hmm. That is the one where we were afraid of this going in. And again, I think they're handling it fine, well. But that is where they're sort of splitting the difference because Tony is being very pushy with Cheryl.
We've also already done this with Cheryl specifically. And like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because we actually did it with Cheryl once already, whereas the Kevin stuff doesn't bother me because we never had a coming out story for Kevin. He just was gay immediately. Like, he was written gay.
I understand what's happening. I understand that Tony is further in her journey than Cheryl is, and that Tony sees these things in Cheryl, and that she's trying to help her.
Yeah, but a very like, well, I like you and you like me, but if you won't admit it, then I'm done with you. It's very like...
It's really odd, and...
Also, Tony doesn't have anything else to lose.
Other than, like, having other characters acknowledge that it's not what's done. Yeah. We're not acknowledging... Because it's like, okay, because Tony finally said, which, frankly, I needed, where she was like, my parents kicked me out, and my grandma's cool with it. I was like, that's very valuable, helpful information. Yeah. But also, in that scenario, then we are still in the 50s, so you can really only still be gay in the dark room and at your grandma's house.
Also, I think the dark room is ill-advised. I think it's ill-advised to be openly gay in a place that all of your classmates frequent. Julian Blossom was there once. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's great. And also, like I said, Tony doesn't... If her grandma's cool with it, she has lost as much as she's going to lose. What, is she going to lose her reputation at school? She's already in a motorcycle gang.
She's already a greaser.
And so it's like, but Cheryl, if Cheryl gets kicked out of the house, where is she going to live? You know? If Penelope and Claudius kick her out, where is she going to live?
Yeah.
She still has things like that's still a concern for her. And we got that character Lizzo back again, who seems to just come around to be like, hey, Tony, why don't you have sex with me as opposed to the girl that you like? And it's like, I think you just answered your own question.
Hasn't that character been in like 5 seasons?
What?
Isn't that, well, and I don't necessarily mean that specific character Lizzo, but isn't there always like a greaser chick who's like, Tony, why are you chasing after that preppy girl?
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like she feels like a staple.
Yeah. She's Tiger Lily in the new Peter Pan and Wendy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She's
that movie
like,
looks bad.
She's cute, and I'm like fine with her, but it's like that's literally, she's been in 2 episodes, and that's what she's done in both episodes.
I also like completely forgot. I just watched it, and you saying that, I was like, Lizzo was in this?
No,
I was like, what? That was Star Wars. Like, what are you talking about?
It was good too.
Again, I stand by. I think that they're handling well, because the last thing that we actually need is like 1950s grief. The other thing about being gay in like the 1950s, as someone who was not there, it was sort of unspeakable. Like you just didn't you just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You just ignored it. Like, I remember my mom telling me, even when I was younger, that there was, like, a girl in their grade that she was like, oh, yeah, we all knew she was a lesbian. We just didn't talk about it. And the, like, only through queerness sort of becoming more mainstream did the need to address it within social circles and stuff start happening. So it's like the whole like being afraid of perceived as gay or like using it as a weapon against your peers, that's more of like an 80s, 90s thing.
Yeah.
So I get what they're doing. And like I said, the last thing that I want is like the townspeople coming after Cheryl with like pitchforks and stuff.
Well, if that call is coming from inside the house, the townspeople aren't going to do shit. It's going to be Penelope and Claudius.
Sure. But that's sort of, I don't have a button or a hat to put on that talking point yet, other than to repeat, I think the show's doing it well, but I think that's the place where the show is against the ropes a little bit.
Sure. I'll give you that.
And I don't know that there's a better way they could do it, and we're also not done, so we'll see.
We talked about Frank a little bit already, but he like really he blows back into town, and it's like all because of the like him and Archie and Cheryl went all the way thing, and so he's got to get his grades back up. He has to join the basketball team, and if he doesn't,
the water boy.
Well, no, he wants him to join the basketball team, but Archie says no, and he's like, well, then you'll be the water boy, and he gets him an after school job pumping gas at Pops, which.
Pop remains the best character. Because
he has to start proving he's the man of the house, which is a horrible term that I hate with all of my heart. And so after all of those things, I'm like, how's he supposed to get his grades up when he's waterboying and
well, and he's taking away his car. So
and he took away the jalopy.
It's taking him exponentially longer to get everywhere. I don't know. I don't get it. Where's he sleeping? You know what I like? What? How many bedrooms are in this house? We've only ever seen Archie's
bedroom. Yeah, we've never seen Mary and Fred's bedroom. Ever.
Unless that's the one where Archie and Betty in that attic bedroom when the bomb went off. I don't remember.
They were in Archie's bedroom. Yeah, that's Archie's bedroom.
He would not move into the master bedroom. That's funny.
No, of course not. He wouldn't. That is a tomb to Fred. A shrine. He would literally never. Although Mary did come back towards the end of that run too. Yeah.
Regardless, I feel like we did mention Evelyn ever. She didn't amount to much, but it was just such like, whose decision was that? Who called up Zoe and was like, hey, it's been a minute.
Do you want to be this character again? Well, we didn't get all the way to the end of Archie and Betty because Betty and Veronica were spying on Archie changing, and he like caught them. And so,
well, she asked him out on a date, to which he was like, "Yeah, I would love that." At the moment, I'm like between a rock and a hard place. And she ran out of the room sobbing hysterically. She tripped and like fell.
It cut to the next scene where she was crying with Veronica.
I was not entirely sure what was happening.
And she just assumed he was trying to let her down easy. But Veronica was like, I'm sure not. And so then they like, well, that was because Betty had not given her like all of the information. She's like, yeah, I know he doesn't have a phone in his room because I can see in his bedroom. And Veronica was like, what? Excuse me. So they go to spy on him, and he catches them. And then the next day at school, he comes.
And he liked it.
And he liked it. He came to ask Betty.
If you want to watch along with us, we had a particularly good time watching this one over on the Patreon at the $3 watchers tier. Head on over to patreon.com/soimwatching the show if you want to join and watch along with us.
So
we maybe talked a little bit about the ethics of voyeurism.
Yeah. So he's like, I saw you watching me and I liked it, but he also asked to speak to Betty alone. So it was like he specifically liked that Betty was watching him. And so they very giddily agree to...
You mean to tell me that this 17-year-old boy liked the fact that two of the hottest girls he knows were interested in... Okay.
Well, it's like we talked about, though. They're Riverdale 6s. We just think they're 10s.
That might have been the hardest you laughed. When did we have...
So funny.
It was season 5, I think. I don't think it was season 6.
Yeah, I think so.
But I was like, you have to understand that in world...
They're just whatever.
And you're like, so you're telling me these are 5? These aren't 5 of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life.
In my whole life. So they very giddily make a plan to meet up at their windows at midnight. Betty's going to be wearing something very special, the lingerie that Veronica gave her at the beginning.
And they kind of did it.
They did, yeah. They got
like,
almost
like production
all
was
the way,
like
yeah.
unbuttons and
then
kind of live. I love it.
And then Hal and Frank walked into their respective rooms saying, "What the hell's going on in here?"
But with purpose. Like
Yeah.
they knew it was happening.
Yeah, I agree.
This is Truman Show.
It's very bizarre.
They're watching on a screen somewhere.
Oh, creepy.
I saw it again. If you want to watch along with us, $3 watch it here. I saw it coming because I was like, "Fuck." This episode credited Lachlan Monroe.
Yeah.
There are 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
We have not seen him, and it was midnight. So
It was, yeah, late.
I mean, Alice is asleep. I don't know that I think Hal would be asleep at midnight. That's when he gets his best buggery on. But
With Frank.
yeah. You heard it here first.
They were in the garage and they could see up in the window.
Where's Bingo?
I'm not sure.
Does Bingo not exist at this point? Are we
Bingo
back
exists.
to Vegas?
There is no dog in the Andrews household currently.
That's how you know.
Jughead has Hot Dog, but
Yeah, but didn't he get taken?
he got him back from the pound. He just was in the pound.
Okay.
Because he was like, that was when Veronica
He's still living in that like
fixed up his train
gorgeously appointed Orient Express car.
car. Yeah. It's almost like he should apologize to Veronica and they should start flirting again. It's just such an unlikely pairing. I'm so into it.
Oh man, this was fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for now.
I think that's mostly it. Yeah.
And next week, we did mention, I can't remember if this was new information, but they did mention that Alice and Cooper have like they like run the local TV station.
Yeah. Alice and Hal.
They say Alice and Cooper.
Yeah.
Alice and Hal. And they do like the Hairspray-esque, like nicest kids in town.
So
and that's what we're getting next week.
Doing a dancing thing. Also, Cheryl did very vehemently mention that Riverdale High is fully integrated, and if Evelyn ever never has an issue with that,
Which
she
she
can
just
fuck right off.
assumed that's
But I liked that we like, because I think they mentioned that in episode 1 too. But I liked that she was like, "How very dare you?"
Also, Tony, I have some issues with Tony.
A few,
because she outed Kevin
and Clay
to Cheryl.
Yeah.
I am very.
I don't think the dark room is as safe a space as we think it is.
I feel very passionately about
Not outing other people.
about coming out ethics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But in ways that a lot of people are like, but there's a lot of people on the outside looking in that have all the answers.
No.
And no, that's not. It is a personal journey. You can do it on your own, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you don't owe anybody shit.
100%.
So, okay. Can't wait for next week.
Me too.
So
We
hopefully
do have dates for episodes now through June 7th. So we are going strong.
So we'll get a
June 7th.
minute
1, 2,
before
3,
the
4,
writer's strike kicks in.
5 more episodes that are listed on IMDb.
Okay.
As of now.
Maybe, potentially. We'll see, because things could change at any minute.
Yeah.
Also, be on the lookout. We don't think it's going to be this weekend, maybe next weekend or the weekend after. We're going to be doing a live stream where we will be... It's kind of a Little Mermaid hype video, because we're so hyped for the new movie, and just any real reason to...
He's hyped for the movie.
You're gonna like it.
I am excited.
You like you just like a reason to be hype.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
So we're gonna build the Lego Little Mermaid set. It's like the
Yay.
royal clamshell, and there might be some Little Mermaid dolls and figures, and
A t-shirt.
so be on the lookout for that. We'll put some notice up, and thanks for bearing with us, because as mentioned a few times, I'm a little bit on going through stuff, and it's fine.
Reggie. I was looking at the episodes. Reggie's going to be in 2 episodes. He's going to be in the episode 2 episodes from now. Episode 8. Reggie's going to be in episode 8. Sorry.
Elijah! Just start blurting out names.
We've just been wondering about Reggie, and so I saw his name, and I was like,
And
oh, hey.
Tabitha, for that matter.
Well, she is
Angeling.
Doctor Stranging around.
Doctor Whoing. Dr.
No, he's Dr. Stranging. She's going through all of the potentialities.
She's also an angel. That feels like something that would be more akin to Doctor Who than Doctor Strange.
That's fine. Sure.
Bye.